Danny, can you hear me?
Hello, Chris. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me. You're my first guest, so you're a bit of the guinea pig in trying to make sure it all works. So I massively appreciate you coming on. Is that a Fitzwymark t-shirt you've got on as well for the occasion, or?
Well, I thought I'd wear red just for you, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. So it's a real honour to be talking to you again. So it's just going to be talking to you about your career and how you got into management and everything like that, if that was okay. So absolutely. First of all, at what point, obviously I know you're a good player in your own right as well, but at what point did you start thinking about wanting to get into management?
Well, I think, yeah, for myself, my career ended before I expected it to. So I ended up retiring as maybe a 28, 29-year-old. I didn't really see it coming. I picked up an injury. I tried to rehab it for over a year, wasn't able to. And then you have kind of this realization that maybe your football's coming to an end. And I love football. It's always the first thing I thought about when I woke up and the last thing I thought about before I went to bed. And it kind of, you get this void comes and you're like, oh, wow, what next? What does my life look like without football? And fortunately, I'd been teaching at Fitzwymark School, which is obviously a school that you know.
Yeah.
and you'll know about its proud extracurricular tradition. So we played lots of sport at sort of district, county, and national, even at world level. And as a consequence, I'd coached a lot of teams, and there's quite a lot of transferable skills. And I remember Concord Rangers were really kind of keen to sign Nicky, my brother.
Yeah.
And, at the time, Nicky was playing in a couple of divisions higher than that. And I remember one night after school, we went to meet them, and he probably didn't think it was the right opportunity for him at that time. But I remember thinking Danny Scopes had just taken the job, but he was very much a player. He's obviously now the manager at Avey and doing an amazing job there. And he needed it become pretty clear in that meeting that he might need some help and some support. And I just offered my time, really. And then it all sort of started from there, really. So by accident, ultimately, but we had a brilliant first season, got promoted. We had 8 wonderful years at Concord Rangers, managed 3 promotions, and then probably got to a stage with a club. I remember we were right on the verge of the playoffs in the Conference South, as it was then, League South as it is now. And I remember speaking to Anthony Smith, who's just the most brilliant chairman, couldn't get more supportive owner. And he said, look, we can't go up. We can't afford to go up. We can't afford to let alone the wages that it would cost at National League level. And at that stage, it probably became clear that maybe my ambition by that time, I was kind of in a rush, Chris.
Yeah.
So, we moved to Braintree and had a brilliant season. It
must have been quite a tough decision for you at that point, because you obviously loved your teaching, didn't you, at Fitz, and then the management was going. So was that quite a difficult decision to sort of mull over, or was it just that the management was going so well that it was quite straightforward and you thought, right, I've got to go for this now?
Well, we didn't really see it coming, the opportunity in full-time football. Obviously, it'd been my dream and ambition from a young age. I wanted to be a professional footballer. I come up a little bit short, had a good career as a non-league player, but when the opportunity came to go into full-time football, it wasn't as straightforward as you would think, because I love teaching. I love football and I love working with young people. I love the energy and enthusiasm that young people bring. And we'd had so much success. We've been at Fitzwymark. We were State Sports School of the Year in 2013, which I think there's near on 4,000 secondary schools in the country. So we'd had, and Nicky, my brother, worked at the same school. My wife worked at the same school. And it was a brilliant place to work. And just like the kids were just incredible. So it wasn't easy, but just, the opportunity to fulfill your dream, really. I didn't want to look back and have regrets. So, pretty much left teaching. And I always say that to lose your job in teaching, you pretty much have to commit murder. Whereas I went into football management, where you can lose your job in about 4 games if you don't find a way of winning. So it was kind of a leap of faith, but we believed in our work ethic, and we believed in our skill set, and we were able to make it work.
Yeah, and you went on to Lincoln. I mean, your time there was beyond belief, wasn't it? Everything that you achieved with the promotions and the FA Cup runs, I remember as well. I mean, that must be a real sort of goosebumps when you think back to your time there.
Yeah, it was some great times. Our first year in full-time management, really, and it was kind of when I was a non-league manager, because it was part-time. My frustrations were always I didn't have enough time with the players, because you don't on a Tuesday night, on a Thursday night, and then play on a Saturday, and you wouldn't have that much coaching time. So it was great to be able to go into a full-time environment, and I had a quite clear vision of really where Lincoln were. And Lincoln, when we arrived, were almost in mourning. They'd been relegated 5 seasons before to the National League, and they hadn't finished above 13th in the National League. They believed they should be a Football League club, but just for whatever reason weren't able to find that promotion. And I remember going there thinking, we looked at the managers that had been successful at Lincoln before, and Graham Taylor, Keith Alexander, Colin Murphy, and the one thing they all had in common was that they'd all really connected with the people and with the city, and with the local community. And Lincoln is a little bit off the beaten track, and it's the most beautiful city. And it was, the people have a real allegiance, not just with the football club, but with the city as a whole. And this felt really powerful, and it was really to tap into this. And we worked really hard getting out, meeting the people, trying to connect the club up again. There had been a bit of disconnect between the supporters and the club, so we worked hard with that. And I think the success we had that first season in particular was it wasn't just an 11-man job. It was a whole county, whole city, whole county effort, really.
Yeah, and you went on from there, and it's tough in management, isn't it? You take the gamble when you decide to move on, and things don't often sometimes work out the way you want them to, don't you? And that's the other side of management. It isn't always a bed of roses.
Of course. And we were definitely in a rush. I mean, we've been lucky enough to manage in 8 of the top 9 divisions now. And I think, we had the opportunity to go to the Championship at Huddersfield. It was an incredible opportunity. We learned so much in that period. It was only 10 months. We picked the club up. I think they'd only won once in 37 games when we arrived, because they'd been relegated from the Premier League. They hadn't won in the first 9 league games. And we just saw the challenge in it, really, and learned so much. The opportunity to manage against people like Marcelo Bielsa, Albert-Learn, and we managed to keep them up. I don't think anybody had kept them up from the position that they'd been, or kept the club up in the Championship when they'd only had 1 point after 9 games. We managed to keep them up, and then unfortunately lost out. I think we beat West Brom in the penultimate game, which kept us in the division, and then we got sacked the day after, which was unfortunate, but it was a brilliant learning experience, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
And Portsmouth as well. It's a difficult job, isn't it? They're going in there. I know it's a club that's close to sort of my family as well, but it's a difficult one to have with budgets and things like that sometimes.
Huge club, massive expectation, and sometimes with these big clubs, when they are moving in the wrong direction, the hardest thing to do is to turn them around. The first thing you do, I always explain it a bit like a juggernaut going in the wrong direction.
Yeah. It's the same as Southend in recent years, isn't it? That's had
exactly the same, and obviously we have a lot of love for Southend, and because a lot of our pupils at Fitzroy Art School was Southend United supporters, so they kind of behind West Ham become our second team. And similar. You kind of have to stop the juggernaut. You don't have to turn it around, but if you can get it moving in the right direction, it can gather unbelievable momentum.
Yeah.
And it's great to see Portsmouth doing as well as they are at the moment. And also good to see that hopefully there's going to be some good news at Southend with the takeover.
Yeah. So how hungry are you to get back in? It must be quite unusual, because since you've been into management, you haven't really been out of it for this long. So I know you were linked with the Charlton job, and there'll be a few others. Are you chomping at the bit to get back in, or do you have to wait for the right one, or how difficult is it for you right now?
Yeah, missing football every day, waiting for the next opportunity, but it has to be the right one. For us, the success that we've had at Concord and Lincoln in particular, I think, was around working with really good people, hard-working people that have the club's best interests at heart. So looking for the next opportunity, and excited about the next opportunity. Ultimately, my daughter plays, so I've been lucky enough to coach and watch her. So she's she plays for Chelsea. So
Brilliant.
She's just been in a tournament in Greece actually. So we've just got back from there, spent 4 days there, and she's luckily enough got an England call up just recently. So she's going to play for the England under-15s against Norway and Greece.
Oh, fantastic! Oh, congratulations!
So we've been having some fun with the family. Ultimately, management, you can it's difficult to find family time because the job will be all consuming, as we know.
Definitely. Right. Just to finish, I've got a couple of questions that people listening in have sent us. So first of all, how is it working with your brother as a managerial team?
Yeah, I often get this question. I think Nicky and I have quite a unique relationship, really. Everyone always tells me I can't believe they could work with their brother, and it must be so good. Nicky and I kind of, I suppose we're used to living in one another's pockets, really. From a young age, we always had similar interests. Nicky was 3 years younger than me, though he doesn't look it.
He had a tough paper around, yeah.
I think he had a flat tire. But he, so, and then obviously in teaching we worked together, and then at Concord he played and I managed, and then eventually become a coach when his body gave up on him. But yeah, we kind of have a telepathic relationship, really. We kind of always know what the other one is thinking, so we can kind of come in and out of roles and support each other pretty well. So it's a unique relationship. It's one that's worked for us.
Brilliant. 2 more. So if you could manage any team, who would you choose?
Well, we loved our time at Lincoln, for sure. We're West Ham supporters. So, we've worked in 8 of the top 9 divisions. So the ambition is to try to work in the 9th. So we've just got to try to navigate and work out how that happens.
And here's the last one. Mr. Cowley, I don't know whether it's a former pupil of yours. I haven't got the name, unfortunately. But have you ever been approached by Southend? There you are. I put you on the spot to finish.
Yes. Yeah. We had a conversation with Ron Martin somewhere along the line. Yeah. I think we did, but it just wasn't. I think Southend were a League One club at the time. It was very, very early in our tenure at Lincoln, and we were very focused on what we were trying to achieve at Lincoln. So the timing just wasn't right, unfortunately. But it's great to see. I mean, the club. I know it's been an incredibly challenging period, but the support for the club through that period has just been amazing. And what the staff there are doing and the players are doing in the most difficult circumstances is certainly to be commended. And they have our full support, and just really hoping that they can come through this period and become the club that that everybody wants them to be.
Brilliant. Fantastic. So good to have you on. Thank you very much indeed for taking time out of your day.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. So this is going on. This is for 24 hours, is this?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So if you're awake again at 3:30 in the morning, let us know, and we can come on and talk about Miss Parrott and Miss Sprogus. So
amazing.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for your time, and I hope to see you back in football very soon.
Thanks, Chris.